Can you close the door? Oh, we're live?
It's starting.
Okay. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. So I am just quick introductions here. I'm Dr. Adil Akhtar. I'm the CEO and founder of PSYONIC. And as you might already know, we develop advanced bionic limbs that are affordable and accessible for humans and robots. And today we're joined by some special guests that we have. Dale and Ani, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ani. I'm our user experience specialist here at PSYONIC, and I'm also an ability hand user myself.
And I'm Dale DeMasi. I'm a creative specialist here, behind a lot of the videos that you see and the content that we put out on social media and different platforms out there.
And we're also joined by Ivan Krestev. And Ivan, you want to give a brief intro to yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ivan. I am here at San Diego, and I was born with one hand is mainly the reason. And so I am 17 years old. My hobbies are like flying drones, doing crazy things like that. I'm really intrigued with robotics is my big thing. And that's mainly the fact why I probably reached out to Adil, right? And so it's a crazy experience just to be here, and I'm blessed to even be a part of this, and yeah.
Well, we're extremely grateful to have you on with us, Ivan, as well too. And so I'll give a brief intro about PSYONIC. And as many of you might know, the PSYONIC story, it's something that I've wanted to do in terms of building bionic limbs ever since I was 7 years old. My parents are from Pakistan. I was born in the Chicagoland area, but I was visiting, and that was the first time I met someone missing a limb, and she was my age, missing her right leg and using a tree branch as a crutch. And that's what inspired me to want to go into this field and develop advanced bionic limbs that were affordable and accessible. And so I went to Loyola University of Chicago, got a bachelor's degree in biology there, a master's in computer science, taught there for a couple of years, and then went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where I got another master's degree in electrical and computer engineering, PhD in neuroscience. And then I left medical school to do this because this was a bit more fun than finishing medical school. But while I was doing my PhD, we got the chance to work with the Range of Motion project. And we had gone down to Ecuador where they do a lot of their work. And we met our very first patient ever, Juan Suquillo. And this was, back when the hand that we were building was a super old prototype that was 3 times the size of an average human hand, with wires going everywhere, plugging into breadboards, power supplies, the wall. And despite that, he had made a pinch with his left hand for the first time in 35 years. And he said in front of international news stations that he felt as though a part of him had come back. And that's when I realized if this just stays as in academia, if I become a professor, I finish med school and work at an academic hospital, then this just ends up as a journal paper. And if we want everyone to feel the same way that Juan did, we had to commercialize that technology. And that's when PSYONIC was born. And now we're on to the 9th generation of the hand that both you can see Dale and Ani are wearing, and that hopefully we can get Ivan in one soon as well too. And it's been like a labor of love for the last 10 years in developing this hand, and just the trials and tribulations we've gone through. And we moved to San Diego about 2 years ago. We're working with the Navy Hospital here, UCSD, for the next generation of these devices that are directly connected to your nerves and your bones. And so we've got some excitement that's building up around that. We're going to be at a bunch of conferences coming up soon. Next week, we're going to be at the AI Summit in New York, the Humanoid Summit in the Bay Area, as well as CES later on in South by Southwest next year as well too. So a lot of excitement drumming up around that. And most recently, we launched what we are referring to as the Ability Fund, and that's the crux of why we're having this live webinar here today too. And so the Ability Fund is something that we've wanted to do for many years in a way to get people who can't afford an advanced prosthetic limb a means to do it. And so we partnered with a nonprofit organization called Limbs for Life, whose mission is to provide prosthetic limbs to those who can't afford it, particularly with lower limbs as well. And so while our hand we've successfully gotten covered by Medicare, which was incredible because we expanded access from 10% of patients who could afford an advanced bionic hand to 75%, there's still around 25% of Americans who are uninsured or underinsured or on Medicaid that can't afford the hand. And that's why we started the Ability Fund with Limbs for Life, where the idea is that every $25,000 that's donated will completely cover an ability hand, and as well as all of the clinical services for it as well too. And to put that in perspective, typically for a bionic hand, that can cost between like $50,000 to $60,000. And the amazing thing about this Ability Fund with Limbs for Life is that not only does that $25,000 completely cover an entire hand and all those clinical services, but a leg on top of that. So we're talking about like now $100,000 to $150,000 worth of just like components and clinical services that we can get an arm and a leg now out for $25K, and that's going to be really critical for making these devices more accessible than ever before. And so we started this campaign with Ivan being our very first recipient in the U.S. of the Ability Fund. And so we've started, if you go to ability.fund or www.ability.fund, you can actually go to that website and donate so that we can get Ivan a hand. And we wanted Ivan to join us on the show and just learn more about his story, like what he's excited about as well too. And so Ani, I'll actually pass it over to you if you want to kind of like talk about your experience and what Ivan can come to expect as well.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you. So I wear the Ability Hand. I use it, but I've been wearing it now for a year and a half. So it's been some time, but for me, like I am also, I have a congenital limb difference. So I grew up without a prosthesis for most of my life and started wearing one because I was doing everything with my right side and was experiencing a lot of discomfort and just like overuse pain on my right side. So I got into prosthetics and started wearing the Ability Hand. And for me, a lot of it primarily was getting used to doing things with both sides all of a sudden, which Ivan, I think, will be kind of the first, like, just exploring, integrating a hand into your life and using both hands to do certain things. So for me, the real benefit isn't like the fun, crazy stuff. It's really like holding a pan and scraping food into a bowl and using both sides, or pushing and pulling at the same time. And using both of my hands, using my hand to hold something and freeze it on a plate and serve myself food at a barbecue. So that's really where I have found a lot of value. But for me, it's been figuring out how that incorporates into my life. But it's been great. And for me also, my experience with the hand has been really closely connected to working with PSYONIC because I am the user experience specialist. So I work with folks that are interested in getting our hand, so potential new patients, and then people after they get the Ability Hand. So getting well-versed in the tech side of it, the app that you can use to customize your hand, and then just like the entire learning process and the community element of being someone with a limb difference that wears this hand. So it's been awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited for you. Yeah. And then Dale, I don't know if you want to share your
Sure.
too.
Really similar to Ani, most of my life, I was born with a limb difference as well. And for most of my life, I did not wear a prosthesis. I began to experience some of the similar things that Ani was talking about just overuse on the other side. And I've always been pretty active and found a way to adapt and overcome. But when I saw the ability hand, it definitely caught my attention, and it made me interested in exploring prosthetics again after having not worn one for close to 30 years. And my journey with PSYONIC started with meeting everyone, working on a documentary film, and that ended up turning into a career opportunity to work here on the creative side and to help share the stories of everything that we're doing here, the amazing things that our users are doing, and really just help shed a spotlight on that and share that with the world. So it's been a really amazing experience that I am very, very thankful for.
Well, Dale, they're saying that in the comments that you don't look that old as well too. So good job staying young. And so yeah, and from Dale and Ani, from your guys' experience, what what are you thinking for like Ivan, right? Because he hasn't used a prosthetic hand, correct? Ivan, you've never used a prosthetic hand during your life so far?
I have a little bit, but they were just plastic ones, and I don't think that'll relate to, psionic hand, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, Evan, you are so fascinated in the robotics side of all of this. So I think just learning about how it could all work for you and customizing your hand for yourself is going to be so much fun just to start with. But again, similarly, having a hand that you are all of a sudden kind of going to be integrating into your life, it's really going to be about figuring out what works for you. So the daily stuff, but then also the fun stuff like flying drones, seeing how you can use your hand to do that, and customizing certain grips so that you can do it efficiently will be a lot of fun. And doing things with both sides, right? Both of your hands.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with you could say exercising. That's a big thing. The muscle is has a real impact on your daily life, right? That's what gives you strains sometimes on your shoulders, or like just trying to pick up weights on both sides. It's an uneven thing that plays a big role in your life, even though you don't feel like it, I guess.
Yeah, entirely. I remember when you came and visited, that was like one of the things we talked about was seeing how it could work for you in terms of the gym and working out and lightweight workouts, but having both sides to be able to build up the muscles on that side too, right? Yeah. Do you have any other?
Yeah, I think one of the things that will be really interesting for you, Ivan, is the social aspect of things, because growing up with a limb difference, the world doesn't do a great job of accommodating people with upper limb differences. And I think just seeing how people react and how you navigate in the world and just that different perspective will be, a really neat adventure for you.
I honestly do hope. There are things I avoid in life, honestly, just the fact that they need the interaction of two hands, and there are certain activities where you just avoid with other people to do and act like if I don't want to do it. I really do, but it's just the fact that it needs two hands, right? And that's one thing that kind of sucks, I guess you could say.
Yeah, entirely. I mean, even like interactions that involve hands, like even just being able to shake somebody's hand with a bionic hand is the coolest thing ever. Or fist bump with a bionic hand. Yeah.
There have been some instances where I meet new people and they're like dominated by their left hand, and they reach out to what do you call it? Handshake with their left hand, and I'm just stuck there like, I can't really do that. Go to the right hand, right? And then we shake hands.
And so for those of you guys tuning in, we are talking about the Ability Fund, a new initiative that PSYONIC is doing in partnership with the Limbs for Life Foundation. And I think I saw Randy comment, greetings from all of us at Limbs for Life in Oklahoma City. Great to see you, Randy. We're so excited to be partnering with you all on this amazing initiative. And the way that the Ability Fund works is that you can make a tax-deductible donation, and every $25,000 that is donated goes to completely funding a bionic hand, and all the clinical services, as well as a leg for users. And we're joined today again by Ivan Krastev, who we're hoping to be the first recipient of the Ability Fund, as well as our user support specialist Annika Berlin, and our creative media specialist Dale Demasi as well. And so, Ivan, what got you interested in wanting, particularly like a bionic hand, and like what are some of the things that you're kind of excited to try, when we can get you funded?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what got me started is really just the fact looking at people with two hands is what I guess you can say pissed me off, I guess. And so it would get me a little bit, frustrated. Why would I be born with one hand, right? And so, the fact that prosthetics and especially robotic hands exist now in this generation is a huge thing, especially for me. And just the fact that you guys are in San Diego is what really, I guess fueled my want for something like, the ability hand that you guys have. And it just, it really encouraged me to at least pursue it as much as I can, and have it. That was really a big part of it, and integrating it with my life are things like, the simplest things is what I can say. Carrying a hot plate would be really cool, especially not even being able to feel the hotness, and and then carrying a cup in a plate, right? That's another big thing. When people hand you self-serve, especially at buffets, or it's a big thing when you can't carry your own drink and plate at the same time. You have to be, holding it all the way up here or something. And there's been times where I spill it, right? But, I try to just, keep going with my life and carry on, right? And so, but there are things that, play big parts in my mental, I guess you can say, health, even though it's like really small things. It really plays a big part, especially soldering. Since I'm like so into drones and all that, they require a lot of soldering. And there's things where it would take the regular person at least 5 minutes with the basic amateur skills. It would probably take me at least 2 hours. And that's one thing that really sucks. And then with the ability hand is what I really have been, going for, is that precision with holding the wire. And that'd be really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so for those of you watching right now, you can go to ability.fund or www.ability.fund, and you can donate. It's Giving Tuesday. So a lot of charities are running right now to accept donations. And so you can make a tax deductible donation, and we can start funding more people to get a bionic hand, as well as a leg as well too. And Ivan, so if I remember correctly, in some of the stories that you told us in the past too, was that you were actually bullied as a kid for only having one hand?
Yeah, it's a big thing. They're cruel kids, and I can't lie about that. But the older I get, I can also say that the bullying has stopped. People become wiser as they grow, and growing up, I didn't see that as something that will, eventually happen. The bullying will stop and all that. It's slowed down for sure, but there are little bits of call outs to, hey, you have one hand, right? But, I don't really care. So it doesn't really affect me that much. And, but being young for sure, with other little kids, they don't like understand the fact that I have one hand, and they do, and they just find it as something to, I guess, as a joke, right? And help themselves feel better or something. I'm not sure, but Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you've been able to keep such a positive attitude throughout the like all of that, your experience growing up with a limb difference, and again, we're so appreciative to have you as hopefully our first recipient of the Ability Fund and everything too, and so. On the Ability.Fund website, I think the meter is currently at around like halfway, like around 10,000 or so towards the 25K. So again, for those of you who want to donate, but we did want to mention to you, Ivan, that last week we did get an email from one of PSYONIC's very longtime supporters and early investors as well too, that they were that they were planning on donating the entire 25K to completely fund your hand. And so you will actually be getting an ability hand very soon because your hand is completely funded. So congratulations, Ivan.
That's actually crazy. I don't expect that ever, honestly. And I'm not the guy to get emotional and cry about it, but I'm not gonna cry. But I'm so happy. Actually, like it's crazy. I'm just by hearing that, I can't believe it. Like I don't even get emotional till like after, and I get like actually thinking about it. That's crazy. I cannot lie. And I'm so thankful. If I can, I don't know who to thank. That's crazy. I can't believe it, honestly. Yeah.
And we can ask them if they'd like to be put in touch with you down the line as well too. But we are very grateful for they've supported PSYONIC for many years, and for them to be involved in such an incredible initiative that we can actually get you a hand that we know you've wanted for a long time as well too. We are so incredibly excited for you to join our PSYONIC family.
I am so grateful and blessed, honestly. This is a huge curveball. I never expected this to ever, occur, especially in an hour from like just thinking. I'm just, just getting this Zoom call and let's get this done, right? I'm not the guy to express emotions, but I feel it, and it's truly, it's heartwarming and it's crazy just to even, happen. And especially being the first recipient out of everyone else in the world, right? That's a huge thing, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
And we're so excited, man. We are so excited. And we actually, when we initially scheduled to do this live stream, we did not have that donation come through. So it was like once we found out, we were like, oh my goodness, we've got to surprise Ivan on the live stream. And so we're so excited that we got to be able to surprise you that you're going to be getting an ability hand, which is going to be really awesome.
That was actually crazy. Thank you.
And Ani and Dale, are there things that we should have him look forward to now that he's going to be an official user?
So much. I'm just so happy for you, Ivan. I don't want to. I just want to put that out there. So happy for you. But I mean, you're already a part of the PSYONIC family. And you've already connected with us so much already. But learning how to use your hand once you get it, and connecting with other ability hand users, learning from other ability hand users, seeing what's possible. It's all just so exciting. That's really what I take away the most from it all.
Yeah, just echo what Ani said. I'm really happy for you, man. Excited to see you with your hand, and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, for sure. I won't push it to its limits. That's one thing I don't want to. Right. And
Ivan, we want you to push it to its limits.
Yeah.
We call it the ability hand for a reason, because we want you to use it to its full ability and to use your full ability.
All right, nice. Thank you. And
I mean, you're in San Diego. You're in our backyard, so you know where to find us in case anything happens.
Yeah, that's really, that's cool. It's so good, honestly, to have you guys right there. And if I ever need an extra pinky, just drive on right there and ask. Yeah.
You wouldn't be the first, man.
And the thing is, Ivan, with you being the first recipient of this, we're hoping will kickstart an entire, like, basically, like, chain of what we call our bionic revolution, right? That anyone who needs access to a bionic hand will have the ability to get it. And so we have, like, our next potential user lined up too, Randy Gleason, who is an occupational therapist in North Carolina. As well. And so we're hoping that we can continue, build momentum on this and get as many people funded as we can. And so, it starts with 25,000, then it's 50,000, and then, like, we keep getting more and more and more, and then, like, everyone who needs a bionic hand would be able to get one. That's the goal that we won't stop until we can get to that level. And so. Again, if you guys are tuning in, we just announced that Ivan was given a very generous donation of the full amount of $25,000, and he will be getting an ability hand, and also someone will be getting a leg too. So the Limbs for Life will also be donating a below the knee prosthesis and the clinical services as well for that. So an arm and a leg for that $25,000, and we're going to be extending that to like $50,000, and then keep that momentum and that goal going. So we're really, really excited to just kick this off. Ivan, having you as like our very first recipient is going to be absolutely amazing. And we can talk about, like, what the fitting process is going to look like. I'm pretty sure you're going to be working with Alex Hetherington over at Hanger Clinic in La Jolla in San Diego, who we've worked with very, very closely, and he's excited for you too as well. So this is going to be great to get you in a hand.
Yeah, that's crazy. The whole view of it, a hand and a leg. That's one thing that really throws you off. A hand and a leg. I never thought that would have been possible, especially for 25,000. But that's crazy, and the whole thing is so crazy, and it's I'm not good with words, but it's really good, honestly.
Ivan, you're doing great with words. So yeah, don't worry about that front. And so we got a question from Steve Limos, who asked, what's the website to donate? It's www.ability.fund. So you can just go into a web browser and type in ability.fund. It'll take you to the Limbs for Life page where you can actually donate towards people getting a bionic hand as well as a leg as well there. And so we had a couple other questions come through in the comments. I think one was asking about temperature sensitivity, and so that's something that we don't have yet in the hand. The hard part is actually relaying that information to the user, like how do you make the user feel hot and cold. And there's some really cool research, and we've been talking to some of the researchers doing this out in out in Europe, where they're actually just feeding back temperature information from fingers and like hot and cold and things like that too. So in a future version of the ability hand, we might be adding in hot and cold sensors as well too. But we do have touch sensors in the ability hand currently. It's the only hand on the market that has built-in touch sensors. So there's one on the fingertip, the finger pad, 2 on the outside of the finger and 2 on the inside of the finger. When you touch it, there's a vibration motor that will vibrate. So Ivan would be able to actually feel when he's touching an object, when he's letting go of that object, and how hard he's pushing based on that quick vibration that he'll feel upon that contact. So definitely excited to get your feedback too, Ivan, on when you would be able to try it out and then see like all the cool things that you might end up doing with your hand, with like the touch feedback aspects, with the speed, and just like I know you mentioned like potentially like lifting weights because of the imbalance on both sides that you've been experiencing. So yeah, definitely excited on that front. Ani and Dale, I don't know if you had any other like things that you wanted to mention or that I forgot to mention as well too.
I'm a little short on words. I'm a little taken aback myself here.
I'll ask a question. So,
all right, go for it, Ivan.
I'm really curious with the feel and touch and the temperature. Is that gonna require the bone integration and all that?
So with the vibration motor on the outside of your body, no, you'll just feel a vibration on the end of your skin. But one of the things that we've been doing, as I was mentioning, we moved to San Diego a couple of years ago. We're working with Dr. James Flint at the Navy Hospital and Dr. Kate Hinchcliffe at the University of California, San Diego, and on the next generation of these devices, that instead of having muscle sensors on the outside, you'll have these fine microwire electrodes that would be implanted into your nerves, and then instead of having a socket, the hand could potentially be directly integrated with your bones through a titanium implant, and so what that potentially gives the advantage of is that when you touch the fingers, instead of feeling just a vibration motor on your skin, the idea would be to directly stimulate those nerves and make it feel like it's coming from a phantom hand in particular. And the interesting thing here actually for all three of you is that because all three of you were born without a limb, because you were born with a limb difference, we actually, if a system like that were implanted in you guys, we have no idea how that would work. It's like a completely unexplored field where if we stimulated the nerves in your forearm, because your brain never had that representation of your hand, it's like it's an entirely new scientific like world that no one has been able to answer that question ever, because we don't know how your brain might reorganize itself by feeling touch, by stimulating your nerves in those areas. So that's something that's really fascinating, and we know a lot of congenital users who've been interested in trying out that technology just to find out like how would their bodies respond to that. So yeah, it's an exciting new endeavor that's one of the cool things about this field is that there's always something new and exciting going on in it, and it just opens up more questions that we're excited to explore and bring the future of technology here.
That's incredible. Honestly, I can't express it enough. It's something huge, and would that be the generation after this ability hand?
So this ability hand already has the touch sensors in it. We're working separately on the nerve integration. So we're hoping to start clinical trials on that maybe in about 1.5 to 2 years. It might be a little bit longer depending on FDA approval and things like that as well. But that would be the goal. And the idea would be that we could potentially have individual finger control too. So we might get our users to play piano or type on a keyboard again. And I mean, that was one of the cool things about our hand too, is that because the fingers move so fast that you can actually do something responsive enough to like play on a piano or type on a keyboard again and things like that. And so and usually we do this on calls too, and it's always fun that we can actually do this on a call. And now that you're going to be getting an ability hand, you'll be able to do this with your hand as well too, because it's built into the app. But you can actually so even though you're not with us right here, Ivan, but you can actually control the hand that I've been holding this whole time. And we're going to try this out. So if you put your hand in front of the camera, let's see if we can do this. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, I got it right there. And then go ahead and bend your fingers. Yep, so you're controlling this hand, like even though you're like on the other side of San Diego from us right now. And you can do individual finger movements like that. Yep, so you got that 4 going on. Like if you move your pinky, it'll just move the pinky down as well too, the ring finger, etc. So that's the level of control that we're hoping to get to with the nerve integration as well too. And so so we got a question about now hearing about that integration, how would all three users feel about having that done? So I don't know if you guys wanted to chime in on that.
That's crazy, honestly, especially here in the camera. That's cool, honestly. That's really good. Yeah.
To answer that question, I think I err on the side of wanting to hold off for a while because I'm happy with my setup as it is right now, but I'm so excited to see where it goes in the space. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be in that same camp. I hadn't worn a prosthesis in, like I said, close to 30 years, and always felt like I would be fine without it, and I didn't need it. But one thing that really changed my mind, there was a 60 Minutes piece that featured the ability hand, and that person had a computer chip implanted in his brain. And he mentioned kind of that being involved in that kind of pioneering work was like, the most important thing he's ever done in his life. And to me, I would jump at the chance to do it, not for myself, but for the future benefit for other people to be able to regain that ability, or for people who were born with a limb difference to experience that for the first time.
Ivan, I had a question that came to mind. Can I ask you a question now that you know that you're getting an ability hand?
Go ahead. I'm all open.
Okay, awesome. I remember when we first met, you had brought your friend, and we talked a lot about the social aspect, and I know you touched on the social aspect. And for me, when I got my hand, one of the biggest things that I was so excited for and a little bit nervous for was how, going back to school, I was going back to college at the time, how that would be received. And just like going back as somebody that now has a bionic hand and is walking around. How do you feel about that? How do you think your friends are going to react?
I honestly, I can't say, but it would be a really weird experience, especially have them never seeing me with two hands and, expecting me to come back with two, right? That's like, I can't explain it. It's unexplainable. It's a weird thing, but it's going to be really cool for sure.
Yeah.
And I really feel like there's going to be something huge that might happen when I go back. So
Yeah. Yeah. I bet your one friend is going to be really, really happy for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's been asking me, so when are you getting the hand? When are you getting the hand? I'm like, just wait a little bit more, Yeah.
Now you can tell him.
Yeah, that's gonna be something crazy he's gonna hear about. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And so again, for those who are watching right now, you can go to www.ability.fund to donate, so that I'm Giving Tuesday today, so that more folks like Ivan will be able to get an ability hand as recipients of the Ability Fund. Every $25,000 will completely cover all the costs of a bionic hand and all the clinical services, as well as a leg, so an arm and a leg, for $25,000. And so we're really excited to have you guys contribute and really join our bionic revolution in making sure that everyone who wants access to a bionic hand gets, and bionic limbs in general, get access to it that they weren't able to do before. And this is in partnership with the nonprofit organization Limbs for Life Foundation, who are an amazing partner to work with. And they've been doing this for many, many, many years to get people who don't have access to limbs, access to them, to increase their mobility, as well as now get them access to hands in addition to legs as well, too. So Ivan, and now that you know that you're getting the hand, like what's like the most exciting thing? What's the first thing you want to try doing?
I honestly, I can't say. I don't know, really. I want to try so many things. There's so many things I want to do. There's one thing I guess you can say I've been yearning for so long. When you're sitting down and then you're besides a person, right? And then something falls from your desk and then it rolls down to your side, to your left or right? And then it's so easy to get it on your right, but it's such a struggle to have to move your chair back, then lean down and try to grab it, right? And it sucks sometimes, because then you're like you're feeling so calm and like you're feeling good body wise, and then you get down and have to bend over and reach it and then hand it down to the other side. And that's one thing I want to try, just get it from my left and hand it hand it to them. That's another cool thing that I want to do. And maybe just like trying to balance out my muscles. That's another thing, because I do start to realize that I run a little funny due to the imbalance of my body. And then when I try to run, my backpack would would bounce to the sides, and it'd look funny. My parents would tell me, you look a little bit funny when you run because you don't have, your left hand. And so with that, I want to, just try to have my body adapt to the extra weight on my left side, and that would be really cool too to do.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, we're excited to see and for you to tell us how that's going to be, that experience is going to be like for you as well too. And with so many like incredible like experienced users like Ani and Dale and many others in the San Diego area, where you've got a wealth of information and resources available to you to make the best of it as well. And we actually got a $500 donation come through on the ability.fund page from Steve Lemos, who is also a recent Ability Hand user as well too. It's so great to have you on, Steve, and we're so grateful for your contribution as well too, and we're excited to work with you as well. We've been following your journey for a while too, and we know that you had struggles with insurance as well too, and we're glad that you were able to get through a lot of those insurance hurdles as well too, in order to get an Ability Hand, and now paying it forward so that even more people can get an Ability Hand too. I mean, that's it's really, really exciting, and we're incredibly grateful for that as well. Yeah, and so Ivan, did you have any other questions on like what to expect, or like what you're looking forward to, or?
Well, one thing I did see over here in the comments is what was it? The bone integration. It was a question about that. I would like to answer that. So where was it really quick?
There was a question on the bone integration.
Yeah, and like questioning all three of us, like how would we feel
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's when we were talking about the nerve implants and the bone implants. Yeah.
Yeah. So well, to answer that question, I guess that would be a really scary thing to happen, you know, especially if anybody is the first. Who knows? Maybe I'd be the first, or somebody else. I don't know, but that's a scary thing to go through, especially in the first in the medical field, right? And especially with some, you know, the what do you call it? The I forgot the word. The problems that can come with it, you know, things that can happen on the bad sides, right? And but there is, you know, medical advances, and that's one thing that I'm hoping does, you know, do well with that. And for anybody who, you know, who decides to be the first or who will be the first, you know, I'm rooting for you. That's a huge thing, especially being the first, and, you know, bone integration. That's incredible, and it's like you're throwing yourself into the future before it happens, right? And it's cool for sure. And I don't know, maybe one day when I have a job and start working and, you know, have all these stuff, right, I may consider it maybe one day, and that would be pretty cool to have, and especially for me. Yeah.
And we're incredibly lucky to be in San Diego working with some of the pioneers in this field too, like Dr. James Flint at the Navy Hospital and Dr. Hinchcliffe at UCSD. And they've got so much experience in doing a lot of these bone integrations with like two of the biggest manufacturers in the world for that, which are Integrum and Osseointegration International. And so just having that here in San Diego, I mean, it's one of the things that drew us to San Diego. And our goal is to turn it into the bionics capital of the world by bringing together all of these resources and doing something that's never been done before in bionics, but also making it accessible to as many people as possible. And so on that note, we got a message coming from Tina saying she's in Tennessee, and asking whether an Ability Hand is available in that area. And yes, the Ability Hand is available nationwide. We've had it available nationwide since September of 2021, and we have users from all over the U.S. now. I don't remember how many states we've hit yet, but it's a pretty good number of states that we have Ability users in. And so Tennessee is definitely one that we I don't remember off the top of our head like how many users we have in Tennessee, but we can work with any of the processes who are there and getting you an Ability Hand as well too, and going through like, you know, normal insurance routes and or the Ability Fund as a potential option as well too. So yeah, for anyone who's interested in getting an ability hand or knows someone who's interested in getting an ability hand, feel free to reach out to us, send us an email at info@bionic.io, or go on our website and you can send us a message there. And if you're interested in supporting someone to get an ability hand, you can go to www.ability.fund and donate there and get more people like Ivan to be recipients for those who can't afford their hand through insurance and typical means of getting a bionic hand as well. So yeah, and Ivan, did you have any other questions as well too that you're thinking of, or?
Yeah, I think that's for me. That's about it. I'm just, I'm stuck on the fact that I'm getting it now. That the hand that's just blown my mind completely. I can't believe it. And there's nothing really else I can ask. It's crazy.
Was it a complete surprise for you?
Yeah, for sure. I never expected that to happen now. I just thought maybe another month or so and something will work out. But now is definitely a huge jump. And that's I'm incredibly grateful. I'm so happy that's gonna happen. Yeah.
And again, we are incredibly grateful for all of our supporters throughout the years that PSYONIC has been around. And actually, I think it was last week or so that PSYONIC turned 9 years old as well. And I always know because today is actually my son's birthday as well, and they were both the same age, PSYONIC and my son. I guess PSYONIC was technically born a week earlier, so PSYONIC is my firstborn, I guess. But in any case, we've had incredible support throughout the many years of our existence, and it was one of our very long time supporters and early investors that decided to donate the full $25K to cover Ivan's hand, and we're hoping to keep that momentum going on Giving Tuesday and going forward, so that we can get more and more people like Randy Gleason, who I mentioned earlier, who will be the second person who we're going to try and get funded to get an ability hand as well too, and then many more who we've met throughout the years as well too, whose insurance denied them, or they're just they don't have insurance or are underinsured, so that we can make this the most advanced and most accessible hand available to users, as well as giving people an arm and a leg for $25,000. It's very hard to beat that kind of pricing for clinical services and components for an arm and a leg. So we are extremely grateful for our supporters to have it. So we've got some an entrepreneur from India. What's the cycle time on sending out a unit to the customer? So right now, it's still only available in the U.S. For users here. We're working on expanding out beyond the U.S. in the next couple of years, and so we'll have better answers in the coming years on like what that's going to look like in terms of lead times and clinical services available in countries outside of the U.S., including India and Pakistan and China and Canada and Mexico as well too. So stay tuned for that. Keep following us and keep supporting us. And again, we're incredibly grateful to have you all on board with us and donate and support our cause. And so with that. Ivan, did you have any last things that you were thinking of or wanted to say?
Anything, but I wanted to thank everyone. Honestly, it's a huge thing to be contributor to this. I am so grateful, and especially being the first, it's a really cool thing to be a part of. And I can't say it in words since I'm not good with them, but I am incredibly grateful with everybody that has donated and got me to where I am now, and soon enough I'll be getting the hand. Yeah.
And thank you, Ivan. And Dale and Ani, any closing thoughts or words?
Just so excited for you, Ivan. Yeah, I'm just really stoked and can't wait to continue working with you and seeing how it all goes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's awesome to, have grown our ranks by one more, have another person to join the family.
We got a couple last questions come through about again who to contact about getting the hand, and you can go to our website psionic.io. You can email us at info@psionic.io. You can call us at 888 Psionic. So if you just type in 888 Psionic into your phone, it'll go directly to our clinical support team, and they can follow up with your prosthetist and clinicians as well. And again, we're talking about the Ability Fund here. If you're interested in donating on Giving Tuesday, you can go to www.ability.fund so we can get more people like Ivan covered so that they can get a bionic hand and all of their clinical services covered in addition to a below-knee prosthesis. We're incredibly grateful for all of you who joined us today and so super excited for Ivan to have him be getting a hand. Thank you for all of your support, and feel free to reach out to us on social media or on our website, and we will see you guys again soon. Thank you, everyone.